This is the My Biggest Takeaways podcast, where I'm going to attempt on a weekly basis to go ahead and talk about my biggest takeaways from a book I might have read, or an audio book I might have listened to, or a documentary I've seen, a podcast I listened to. This is episode number 1. On this episode, I wanted to talk about James Altucher's book, Reinvent Yourself. I'm a big fan of James Altucher. Read his blog on and off. I have read The Power of No. I've read Choose Yourself as well. And I listen to his podcast irregularly. Some of the things that I've learned from him that I've applied into my life from books like The Power of No, where saying no more often will buy you more freedom in whatever it is that you want to do. The 5-25 rule, where you make a list of the 25 things that you love in life, and if you can narrow it down to the 5 things that you absolutely can't do without, that's what you should put your focus on. He's also had an article on procrastination, how procrastination can be a good thing. James Altucher's field is not so much self-help and motivation, but I just very much enjoy his stance with self-help and motivation. A lot of the self-help motivational stuff that you'll hear will talk about, yeah, do it, no days off, all the time, go, 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 go. But Mr. Altucher talks about it's okay to take a break. It's okay to procrastinate or just sometimes do nothing and just rest. I very much take that to heart because, you can go and work yourself to the bone and then you just hate this thing that you're working on that you've been trying to make happen, this goal. You end up having disdain for it because it's just like, my God, I'm putting all this time and energy into this and I'm not taking no time off. And now on to the book of Reinvent Yourself. This book is what I assume is a collection of his podcast interviews, blog posts that he's just made into one book. I'm sure he's written new material for it as well, but this is the vibe that I've gathered. And he quotes a lot of his podcast guests in this particular book. This is also one of the first Kindle books. I have it on my iPad, and what I did is I used the text-to-speech feature on the iPad where I can actually go about doing stuff. This text-to-speech feature will go ahead, read the book aloud. It's all in this kind of one monotone voice, which is not the best, but it will read the entire book. And what I would do if I would hear something that would interest me, I would stop and use the highlight feature inside the Kindle app, which I think those two tools combined in terms of the text-to-speech feature and this highlight tool are so great for research. But let me go ahead and get into some of my biggest takeaways. I'm only going to state 5 here. I'm going to state 5 quotes. But I definitely implore you, if you have ever been a fan of this man, do check out this book. This first one is from chapter 2. Chapter 2 is called, It's Going to Be a Storm. Do you have an umbrella? And this is on page 21, and it's talking about habits. The quote is, it's a 5x5 rule. You are not the average of the 5 people around you. You're the average of the 5 habits you do. The things you eat, the ideas you have, the content you consume, etc. That's one quote. Now let's go to this other section of the book. This chapter is called The Tao of Louis C.K. It is on page 63. It goes, life's too short to be an asshole. That's the second quote there. This is on chapter 10, and the chapter 10 is called How Picasso Produced 50,000 Works of Art. This is on page 79. The quote is, most of the time people say no. In almost everything I've done, I've gotten 20 no's for every one yes. The next quote is in chapter number 18, page 133, and the quote goes, choosing yourself means taking risks. It means not being afraid of what people think are your chances of success versus failure. This is chapter 29, titled, Are You There, Judy Blume? It's me, James. And this is on page 230. The quote is, but every day I feel she is telling me you have to unlock your creativity. If you don't let it flow, it will be trapped inside. It will mutate. It will kill you. Every day, create. This final quote is, losses are the maps that point you to what you never knew before. If you'd like to check out this book, I'm going to leave a link in the show notes for this particular episode. By purchasing the book through this link, it will support myself and the author of this book. Thank you so much.